Okay, guys, how are you? I'm here to remind you about the negative inclination that we have as human beings. As you know, we've talked about this, and what I have told you, okay, this as related to positive psychology, is that we are inclined to the negative, to the pessimistic, because we had a better chance of survival if we were cautious, if we saw everything as a potential danger. That was useful in the sense of being um, alive and passing your genes to other generations. So I'm sorry here, the negative guy, just he could run away from the from the danger, as the positive guy was talking, seeing the wheel and all that, and maybe got eaten by a lion. The point is, okay, if we have a negative inclination about life as human beings, how do we get rid of it now that it's not as useful as it used to be? Most people, scientists, and you guys will probably agree that it's better to be positive than to be negative. I'm not saying naive. I'm not saying somebody doesn't have their feet on the ground. I'm saying being positive more than negative. It is just more productive. It is better for your health and for a lot of things. So how do we get rid of that inclination? If it's a natural inclination, how do we get rid of it? How do we counterbalance that? How do we just short circuit our brain? And the fact is that is the solution that I propose, and that not only I propose, but a lot of professionals and positive psychology scientists, is they have to short circuit the brain. What does that mean? It means that you have to trick it and confuse it so it is not able to think negatively. And we've seen, and if you want to, the power of focus is that when you focus too much on something, you're not able to focus on other things. Think about the following: if you're concentrated in something that you really, really like, it's kind of hard to see the periphery, things that are outside of your vision, or even pay attention to somebody else because you're so focused. So then, if that is a natural tendency we have, like when we're focused, we like tune out from the rest of the stimuli. We can even be watching like an incredible movie, Mission Impossible, whatever, so focused and so engaged with the movie that somebody's talking to us and we don't even notice it. Okay, and that's our ability to focus and leave other stimuli outside, so it doesn't interfere with our primary goal or job or task at hand, in this case watching a movie. Now, so how do I get myself to focus on the positive so I am unable, or at least less able, to think about the negative? So one of the things that people have come up with, and it's gonna sound trivial to you, but it's powerful. Believe me, you can see all kinds of books about this. I'll upload a book about it. It's gratitude, being grateful. And yes, it sounds corny. Yes, it sounds like something your grandmother would say. In fact, I got really angry with my grandma when I was a little kid because she gave thanks, for everything. And she had a cookie and she was thankful about it. And I was, really, it annoyed me until later on in life I understood that that was good. She didn't know the science behind it, but she definitely did the practice. So how do I trick my brain into thinking about the positive and therefore making it difficult for it to think about the negative the rest of the day? Well, it turns out that there is a whole science behind that, and I call it power of gratitude. But by the way, as this is an interactive lesson, so it doesn't matter if I switch. Um, and I'm going to present this book, Robert Emmons. Um, okay, he is one of the most important authors about gratitude. Well, this is the guy, Robert Emmons, here, and this is the famous book, Thanks. Okay, and it says how practicing gratitude can make you happier. And you know what? It works. I mean, you don't have to change your circumstances that much. All you have to do is change your attitude. And I'm sure you're like tired of hearing people telling you that you should change your attitude. Like you gotta be positive, but nobody tells you how, right? I mean, it's easy to say like cheer up, be positive, but nobody tells you how. So what? How do you do it? How do you make your brain look only at the positive and have difficulty in looking at the negative, in which what you're doing is short circuiting the natural inclination to be negative. So one of the things that we found, science again, this is not religion, science is that if you're grateful, and if you, for example, you follow a gratitude diary or journal, and let me just see why this is showing like so horribly dark, but you should be aware of the positive psychology program site, and this is it. Um, this is like the practical side of positive psychology, and it's directly linked to the Positive Psychology Center at the University of Pennsylvania, where would be the academic side of it as opposed to the practical side of it. So, it has been found that if you focus on things, you know, at the beginning, if you're not used to it or you're negative, it's going to be hard. Well, not that hard, but try doing this. Try focusing on three things at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day, but write them down. Three things that you're grateful for. By the way, you don't have to believe in God or anything. I do. I mean, I suggest you do, because it makes sense. But if you don't, be grateful. I don't know, to the universe, or just be grateful. But write at the end of the day in a journal, nice journal, three things that you're grateful for. And they can be very small things, okay? In fact, it's good because there's a lot of things that we take for granted. You've heard that. So, for example, I'm going to give you an example that sounds horrible and everything, but it's not. When I go to the bathroom, I'm thankful. I'm grateful. You may say, well, that's like ridiculous. Why does he do that? Well, I have a friend that that has had an operation. Has had about 20 operations. He can't go to the bathroom. I mean, he has to use machinery and all that. So there are stuff that you think it's like normal, but you should be grateful for. So what you do is you write those things, and automatically it forces you to think about how fortunate you are. For example, you got food on your, a lot of people don't have food, but if you don't realize it and you don't write it, so what I suggest is writing three. For example, you got a call from your brother, and you say, you know what, I'm thankful for that, and you write that. It sounds superficial, it sounds simple, it sounds like, but it's powerful. There's enough evidence. So what's going to happen is that, for example, if you follow these rules, the ones I'm going to give you, um, for 1 month, you cannot repeat the blessings or the things you're grateful for. That means the next day you got to come up with three new ones. And what does that do? It says you can't repeat them. It forces your brain to look at other things that you should be grateful for. For example, right now I'm grateful for this technology, but I take it for granted if I don't just try to focus on it. I'm grateful for the fact that I'm able to communicate with you without having to be present, and at the same time communicate the essence of what I'm trying to say. So what you do is you will um, practice and nurture and cultivate gratitude as an exercise. And when you come up with these things, and then you read the other three from the other day and read today's three, and then when you add them up, it is interesting that there's so many things. You're gonna see there's so many things that you are grateful for that that it's really hard to think about the negative. So you're fooling your brain. You're tricking your brain on purpose. On purpose. Okay? Because you're recognizing how it thinks, how it likes to think, and knowing that gives you the power to change it. So, just this morning I had. I mean, you're gonna be amazed. Right now, it's gonna be hard, but in the sense that you're not used to it. But then you're gonna be amazed in your ability to give thanks for things that are normally or usually not that important, or they're insignificant in your eyes right now. Let me tell you one thing. This is, more than the theory. I'm just going to tell you about my experience. I was the least grateful person in the world. I thought that I deserved everything. And the problem is, when you think you deserve everything and you don't get it, it's a real problem. Okay? I'm talking about the year 1997. Then I had a transformation through positive psychology and just spirituality, and started giving thanks for everything, and systematically. If you go to this web page, it's going to give you templates, ideas, and why it works. What's a gratitude journal? What is the difference between a gratitude journal, planner, diary, notebook, ideas, the bullet journal? Let me just, and there's apps I think for that. Um, but this is so important that that they have dedicated a whole section on the positive psychology program. That is the most important program in the world. That's how important and how useful it is. But there's so many benefits, uh, even health benefits. Okay, about gratitude. But I'm not gonna read it for you. But I may want to mention one or two things that I have here, and it's this. I say gratitude is you know, there's a lot of quick, get rich quick schemes out there. It's like do this and you're gonna make a lot of money. Well, actually, gratitude is the fastest way to get rich. Why? Because because if not, you're putting off your gratitude or your happiness, and subordinate it to a future event. What gratitude does, it makes you be, it gives you the happiness now. Okay. Now, does that mean you're gonna be a mediocre person because um, you're settling for less than you can be? No, there is a mechanism in which you can be grateful and enjoy what you have, plus and plan ahead in the sense that you want to reach certain things that you don't have right now, which will cause you to grow as a person. But if you focus too much on the future all the time, you're not going to enjoy the present. So there is a balance that we can talk about, and I'm going to teach you how to do that. But gratitude can be cultivated, which is important. Um, uh, it is scientifically proven. It used to be only religiously, remember? I mean, or your parents would tell you, like, be grateful because there's kids in Africa that can't eat anything, and we would hate it because there was no, we would hate it. I would hate it. It is, gratitude does make you happier. Okay, who doesn't want that? Okay, who? I mean, do you want to wait until you have a yacht, like a 20 million yacht, $20 million yacht, so you can be happy? I don't think so. Yeah, you should shoot for it, but don't wait until you get it to be happy. By the way, when you get it, you're not going to be happy because you're not in the habit of being happy. But what? So half, gas. I mean, the glass half full, half empty. That's about positive or negative inclination. But it's also proven that it helps with blood pressure, sleep. You can sleep longer. Enthusiasm, vigor, which is energy, it has been proven. Okay, self confidence. Don't you? I mean, we're all looking for this. I mean, self esteem, our self worth, etc. And this is not positive thinking. Just, I mean, it's been so popular lately. What's positive thinking? There's a lot of confusion about that. This is not just that. It's that plus more. And if you want to know, it's a Christian virtue. Doesn't mean you need to believe it as a Christian. Okay, you can be a Muslim or Buddhist or whatever and still do gratitude. Okay, but if you want to know, just as a interesting fact, it is a Christian virtue and it has other spiritual benefits. Okay, um, so what do you know? The Americans say count your blessings, and that's a very wise thing to say. Um, let me just read it. The way I wrote it is it's an exercise that you don't doesn't give your brain a chance to contemplate the negative things that are in our heart. I mean, doesn't let things that are in our negative mind go into our hearts. It is recognizing that we have many blessings. Just doing that, it diminishes the effect that negative things in our life have, because then you put them in a balance. You put them, you can weigh them, and you say, well, you know what? There's the 100 things that I have good in my life against 20 that are bad. So what you're doing is you're telling your brain, listen, you have many more positive things than negative, which is always true. The majority of the things that happen to us uh, are outside of our control. Okay, this is something I really want you to understand. The things that happen, most of the things that happen to us are outside of our control. But there's 100% of the attitude that we have, 100% can be controlled. I cannot control that there's an earthquake. I can't control the fact that maybe I get sick. I can't control the fact that maybe my spouse leaves me for somebody else. But I definitely can control how I take it, how I react. So one of the things about blessings is that increases your ability to react in better ways to things that are happening to life in your life anyway. We all go through trouble. That's a given. Okay, but we can definitely improve the way we take it and the way it affects our lives. Okay, so this is important for you to remember. Take notes on this video as always. Thank you very much. I'll see you soon.